Have you ever felt like you're doing everything that the experts say, and yet none of it is actually working? One person says you need to batch your content, another says post in the moment. Someone else tells you you need to be on 5 platforms, while someone else says you only need to be on one. It's a lot. So today I want to help you breathe and block out some of that content noise and give you a simple way to decide who's actually worth listening to, because I truly believe that not all content advice is right for you. And that's not a bad thing. It's just time to learn how to filter out the wrong advice. Welcome to the Powerful Content Podcast, your go-to source for content creation, strategy, and business inspiration. I'm your host, Mel Daniels, content strategist, coach, and speaker, empowering women across the globe to grow their business with powerful content that connects, nurtures, and converts. So if you're ready to create standout content that gets you noticed and remembered, or build an aligned audience who love you and are ready to buy from you, you're in the right place. I believe that content has the power to connect us all. It's up to you how you use it. Listen in for genuine and insightful chats with guests, as well as practical tools and strategies from me. It's so lovely to have you here. Let's dive into the show. I acknowledge the Wongal people of the Eora Nation as the traditional custodians of the country that I am recording from today. I recognise their continuing connection to the land and waters. I pay my respects to elders past and present and extend that respect to all First Nation people listening today. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to episode 179 of the Powerful Content Podcast. I hope you are well. So today I feel like I need to start the episode with a very quick story. And if you've been hanging out here a while, you'll know that I have a couple of retail casual jobs, which I'm still absolutely loving. But this week, 2 of my usual shifts were shortened, and it gave me back a few extra hours of time that I wasn't expecting. This was the hugest luxury for me, but also the best timing, as I'll be running a workshop today just after this episode airs. And on the weekend, so about 4 days ago, I decided that the workshop, which I've run previously in the past and is also a training inside my membership, The Content Effect, well, I just decided that it didn't flow and it needed to be rejigged. Right? And once I thought it, I couldn't unthink it. So having those few extra hours up my sleeve has meant that I was able to redo the workshop and create a new resource called the Content Ideas Tracker. And hopefully my participants will absolutely love it. So I guess the moral of this story is that if you want to change something or do something different, then do it, and do it your way. You don't need to download 1,000 resources or go down the YouTube rabbit hole. Make the decision. And sometimes your intuition is the best guide, which kind of nicely leads me to today's topic, which is who to listen to, particularly when it comes to content. But really, the same philosophy, I guess, can be applied to any aspect of your life. But I see time and time again, people try to follow someone else's strategy or tactics, but they fall short and end up feeling like a failure. And if you've ever felt like you were the problem because you couldn't stick to someone else's content plan or content strategy, I want you to know you are not the problem. The plan or the strategy probably wasn't designed for someone like you anyway. It's as simple as that. And there are some really common reasons that this happens. First of all, you're following advice for a different business model or a different stage of growth. And we all want to get to that next level with our business, more leads, more sales, more profit. But if we're trying to implement advanced strategies when you're still really in the foundational stages or vice versa, then you're not going to get the results that you want or that you expect. The second thing is you're trying to copy strategies that don't suit your energy or your strengths. And this is a common one. You may not have the same amount of time or resources to execute a plan as someone else does. You also may approach life in a very different way, preferring to handwrite visual maps rather than fill out complex spreadsheets. And side note here, this is exactly why in my workshop today, I'll be giving my participants the option to use a Word document, a spreadsheet, or a visual way of tracking ideas. We all have our own individual strengths. And thirdly is you're piecing together tips from too many voices without that overarching strategy. It's kind of like trying to do a puzzle, but the box contains pieces of 3 different puzzles. It's never going to come together in one complete project. Because when you're overwhelmed with executing other people's strategies and tactics, content or otherwise, it's usually a sign. Often you end up losing your own voice in the process. And when that happens, content starts to feel heavy, it feels confusing, and a whole lot like a chore rather than really light and easy to execute. Now, before we get into the specifics on what I think you should look for in a content mentor, let's flip the lens for a second, because it's just as helpful to know what to walk away from. And sometimes when we're in the thick of things, when we're in the moment, we cannot see these red flags. But these red flags might signal that the advice that you're hearing or the person giving it isn't right for you. Now, the first one is it starts with everyone should. There is no one size fits all in content. None. Blanket rules, formulas to me are a absolute warning sign because it does not take into consideration your time, energy, and resources, nor does it allow for your strengths to shine through. And if you feel like you need to be shooting with someone, then please just walk away. The second thing is that it shames you into action. So if the message is something like, you're not serious unless you post every day, or something like, you can't succeed unless you do this thing, that's not strategy, that's pressure. And quite frankly, we can all do without that kind of pressure. You're doing the best with what you have. And do you know what? You should be proud of that. The third thing is it ignores your humanity. So advice that assumes unlimited energy, time, or resources isn't made for a solopreneur, it's made for a machine. And I really never, ever want you to feel like a machine when it comes to content. Yes, there's frameworks that you can follow and tools to use to make it easier, but heck, you're always a human first with a life to lead outside of your business. So let's remember that. And the last red flag for me is it doesn't encourage your voice. So you want to learn from someone who helps you amplify your message, not just parrot or mimic theirs. And this one's a biggie for me. I'm not here to mold you into a mini version of me. I'm here to give you the tools and support to do it your way. So once someone starts to tell me to say things a certain way or to act a certain way, that's a red flag that they're not trying to encourage me, but rather want me to be like them. So basically, the right expert won't make you feel bad or like you're lacking. I'll help you reconnect with your strengths, your values, and your unique rhythm. So now you understand why you can feel like crap when you follow someone else's advice and it doesn't go to plan, and the possible red flags as well. How do you then decide who to follow, who to learn from, who to listen to, and who to kindly press that mute button on for the moment? You know, even I'm not exempt from a little bit of FOMO. So when I start seeing or feeling the red flags, there's 5 simple questions I use to help myself get really clear on whether this is something that I should pursue or walk away from. And the first thing is, does their values align with mine? And here I'm not saying, are they like me? I'm saying, are their values the same as mine? First and foremost, I stop and consider whether they are pushing hustle and high volume or whether they are heart-led and human first. Are they pushing me to perform or inviting me to connect? There is a difference. And I pay attention to how they talk about what they do, their content, their clients and business. Does it feel right? And I want to stress here, even though they may give you tangible evidence of other people succeeding with their particular content strategies or tactics, it doesn't make it right. If it doesn't feel right, there's a reason why. Please listen to that feeling. The second thing is whether they are speaking to my season of business. So if you're a solopreneur, juggling kids, clients, content, you don't need a strategy designed for someone with a team of 5 plus a full-time social media manager. Be discerning. Is this person speaking to where you are right now? And if not, that's okay if they have other strategies that you can use to get to that point. The third question for me is, are they empowering me or overwhelming me? So some experts make you feel like you'll never be good enough unless you follow their exact system. Others give you tools and frameworks that you can help shape your strengths. And that's me, in case you're wondering. I will never, ever tell you that you should be doing something. Well, actually, that is a lie. There is one should, and you can find out what it is in the replay of my workshop. But please choose empowerment over pressure always. Now, the fourth question is, how do you feel after consuming their content? So if their reels leave you feeling anxious, or if their emails make you spiral, that is data that you can use. The right guide is going to leave you feeling capable, not crushed. And I have this mantra or this idea that I'd rather someone come to work with me feeling hopeful rather than desperate. And content shapes the way that your clients come to you and feel about you and what you can do for them. So are they making you feel desperate or are they making you feel hopeful? And lastly, what does your intuition say? So do you feel grounded and seen when they speak, or do you feel shamed and perhaps a little scattered? Tune into your gut. You know more than you think. And as a heart-led entrepreneur, it's really easy for you to think that you're the problem. I know, I've been there, and I often get sucked into that feeling of, oh my goodness, I'm not doing it right, or you're less than, simply because you don't want to do it a certain way. Just because someone's advice works for them or even thousands of others, it doesn't mean it's meant for you. Okay, so just to recap, those 5 super important questions are, do their values align with mine? Are they speaking to my season of business? Do they empower or overwhelm me? How do I feel after consuming their content? And what is my intuition telling me? So as we round out this episode, I want to hand this back to you. Take a quiet moment and sit with these reflection questions. Number 1, whose voice and message makes me feel calm, grounded, and empowered? Number 2 is, what have I tried in the past that didn't sit right, and why did it feel like that? Number 3 is, does this new strategy, tactic, or plan that I'm trying align with the way I naturally like to work and create? And number 4 is, who do I want to learn from, even if their approach goes against the norm? I was really drawn to create this episode for you because I've just seen way too many big-hearted women in business over the last 7 years lose their confidence because they've tried to be someone else's version of success. And when I see this happening, I usually hear them saying things like, there's so much to do. I need to learn how to XYZ before I can implement this thing. I was told I needed to hire a virtual assistant to earn more revenue. And do you know what? There's this feeling of being frazzled, confused, and overwhelmed. And that makes me probably the most sad and angry as well, that when it all comes unstuck, and it often does, they blame themselves. And it's so not true. You were sold a dream that you were told that you had to have. And that ends here today. It's time for you to block out that noise, trust your own rhythm, and follow guidance that helps you be more you, not less. And as many of you know already, this is what I aim to do inside of the Content Effect. It's a monthly membership for women who are done with content overwhelm and ready to create with clarity and confidence on their own terms. So inside, you're going to find a bucket load of resources and support that meet you where you're at, and a nurturing, beautiful community that does not subscribe to hustle, shame, or a one-size-fits-all strategy. So if you're ready to create purposeful content with ease, head on over to thecontenteffect.com.au/join to join us. And if you join in the next week or so, I've got 2 bonuses. Access to me with a one-on-one session where we'll map out where you are and what your next best steps are, plus free access to my course, The Confident Content Creator. All the details are in the show notes. Okay, well, that's it. I'm going to leave you with a thought this week. You don't need 100 voices in your ear. You just need 1 or 2 that truly see you. Start filtering, start trusting, and content will finally start to feel lighter. Talk soon. Thanks so much for listening. That's it for another week. To get more powerful content in your life, make sure you're following along on socials. My handle is @meldbusiness. And just in case you're wondering, the groovy music for this podcast was created by Just Here on SoundCloud. I'd also be super grateful if you took a moment to rate and review this podcast so more amazing women like you can experience the power of content. And if you're like, hell Mel, stop talking, I'm ready to work with you now, here's how we can work some powerful content magic together. Firstly, come and join the Content Effect, my membership inspiring women with service-based businesses to ditch the content chaos and start creating stand-out content that gets you noticed and makes sales. You can join us by using the link in the show notes or just Google the Content Effect. The second way we can work together is via my one-on-one packages. We can create a sustainable content strategy or start to build out your client journey. It's up to you. Pop on over to meldbusinessservices.com.au/services to find out more. Until next time, have a beautiful week and embrace the power of your content.